Well, hello, Facebook family and friends. Today is day seven of 21, and today's topic is on giving up. So, I say a lot of times that this is a tough one. This emotion is a tough one. This little snippet, this piece is a difficult one and a tough one. But the truth is that all of the emotions that we're covering over the next 21 days, and just this whole thing about being an adult and all the stuff that comes with that, it can really be tough. So it's tough when it kind of stops us, when it kind of gets in our head. And giving up is one of those that is really tough for a lot of people because it can feel like you're almost reaching that hopelessness place. Starting to lose that hope, and you're not really sure how to kind of manage through and gain that hope back. And oh, Daisy, May, Shirley, oh my gosh, Valerie, love you guys. Thank you so much. Gosh, I haven't seen you guys in forever. Thank you for popping in. So today, talking about giving up is a really, and we're going to get to, over the 21 days, we're going to get to some of the really entrenched and difficult topics like depression and anxiety and things like that. But these are all like little preludes, right? And because they're little snippets and it's not therapy, we can only go a little bit into it. And giving up, I felt, was an important topic to kind of tackle on its own, because sometimes people can feel very much like giving up, like they don't know how to kind of cope. They felt a bit like they're hopeless and they're not really sure kind of how to manage through, and they don't really want to go to that place, or they don't really go to that place of maybe a full-on kind of depressive feeling or true hopelessness, but they're just kind of feeling like, why bother? What's the point, right? And that's really challenging because it can kind of cross that line into a more serious kind of pervasive feeling for a lot of people if they don't kind of manage it before it potentially gets to that place. And as a therapist through the years and a coach, I have seen that so many times, and it's heartbreaking for me, because I see the possibility in them and I see the love and the beauty and the soul and their personality, but they're struggling to see it, right? And so really what giving up is all about is fear. And I'd rather retreat than face whatever the fear is that I have about whatever, about myself, about my life, maybe my job, maybe my family, maybe my relationship, maybe where I live. I have this fear and I'm not really sure of how to cope with that fear. So instead of dealing with the fear, I just kind of retreat from it. And I can start to feel like I need and want to give up. Why bother? What's the point? Because I don't see an outcome that is positive, or I don't see that kind of future positive place. Hey, Loretta, Dollface, how are you, love? Thank you for popping in. Okay, so with that fear, though, a lot of times for people, it's either a fear of failure or a fear of success. Now, these are interesting kind of dynamics because, we hear a lot from people about fear of failure. Oh, what if I fail? What if it doesn't work? What if I get divorced? What if this business I'm starting doesn't go anywhere and I make no money? What if? The what if game, right? What if? And we can go into one of those two places, the fear of failure, that it won't work out, and then it will mean something about me. I'm a loser. I am not good enough. I didn't make it. I didn't try hard enough. Or on the flip side, I can equally be afraid of success. What if I'm successful? And it's still the what if game, but it's what if I'm successful? Will I be able to maintain it? Will I be able to keep carrying it forward? What will happen when and if people see me in this particular way? And so giving up is part, within that fear, is part of that fear of failure and fear of success, and it can be different for each person. And it's really about not feeling good enough. It's really about making those excuses. It's really about trying to justify things. It's really about, okay, let me take an example to help you out here. Pardon me. Let's say I want to, I kind of used this example the other day, but we'll kind of carry it forward. Let's say I have a car that is older and it keeps breaking down. And I really don't have the money to kind of keep fixing it. And I want to fix it because it's the only vehicle I have and I don't have money to buy a new one, and I need it to get back and forth to work, and I need it to go to the store, and I need it for all kinds of things in my life. And so I'm like, well, you know what? I'm not even going to bother trying to fix this car anymore. I'm not even going to bother looking for a way to get a different car. I'm not even going to bother. What's the point? My luck is always so crappy that I'm just going to keep getting cars that break down, and I'm never going to have the money, and I'm never going to have. And so I start going into that kind of conversation in my mind, right? And so I just kind of give up and I say, screw it. I'm just going to keep this car till it's dead, and then I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out down the road. So that's a very light kind of example of that giving up. Let's say, again, like with the Overwhelm the other day, I have all this paper on my floor and nobody's telling me that if I don't clean it up, I'm going to get fired. So I don't have an incentive to get it clean. So I walk into my office and I look at my floor and all this clutter and I go, oh my God, you know, and first I'm overwhelmed. I tried the 1 foot by 1 foot square. I started cleaning it up, but it still feels overwhelming. It still feels like a monumental task. My outcome and end result is that I want a clean floor, but I just don't feel like I'm ever going to accomplish it. I feel like even when I do that 1 foot by 1 foot square, more stuff comes in. And so it's almost like this imbalance that keeps happening. And then I'm like, what's the point? Why bother? I'll just keep stepping over all this stuff. I'm not good enough to ever get this cleaned up. And you might not really say that about something like a situation like that, but it's like, I don't have the time, or every time I try to do this, it's not enough. Every time I put forth some work, all this other stuff keeps coming in, like more papers coming in, more junk's coming in. Like it just never feels like I'm getting anywhere. So what's the point? Why bother? And it's because I have that fear that I won't ever achieve this task. Or I have this fear, that's the fear of failure. Or I have this fear of success, where if I achieve this task, it'll just get messy again and I'll have to do it again. So what's the point? Why bother? So within kind of giving up is this thought process that happens that says, you know, I have some hope. I can kind of see how to get to that place. But every time I try, or I make these attempts, or I'm working at it, it feels like something keeps happening. And then I feel like it's me. I did something wrong. I made a poor choice. Whatever. And I start to internally turn it on myself and say, I'm not good enough, or this will never be the case, or this has always been my life. So why bother? What's the point? And so then I just kind of retreat into not wanting to face that fear, and I just kind of give up. I still have hope maybe, but it's the way I'm feeling and the way my thought processes are going, I don't really feel like I have enough to kind of carry me through that challenging obstacle or that challenging time. Ken, Charles, hi there, guys. Thank you so much for popping in. So one of the things that you can do when you're kind of feeling like you want to give up, when you kind of feel like you're losing that hope and you're not really sure how to kind of face through it and barrel through it. And I don't mean barrel through it like just plow through it and forget it, right? Just like sometimes, yeah, in substance abuse and addictions, we have a phrase called fake it till you make it. And sometimes you kind of can just start to do something, and it will kind of lift your spirits up a little bit. And it'll help you to see that little step that you're making progress, and it carries you through. And that's phenomenal. But sometimes people can do that, and it still doesn't really help to lift them up in a way that allows them to keep moving forward. And it's like they take those 2 steps forward, and then it feels like they're taking those 3 steps back. Or, you know, I'm making these attempts, I'm working toward this, and then all this stuff happens. My car breaks down again. Or my boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife yelled at me again, or we got into a fight, or I cleaned up some of my office and then it got messy again. And so then we can reach that point where it's like, man, no matter how much I work at this, it just always seems to go to the same place. And that's where the giving up piece really comes into play then. And that's where it can be detrimental to our mental health and well-being and our resiliency, because we just keep feeling like we're facing the same things over and over again without these more positive end results. And so we just say, what's the point? Why bother? So one of the really big ways to kind of help yourself through that, the first little kind of like solution, is to really kind of write down like all the ways why I want to give up. Okay. So let's take the simple example of all the clutter in my office, right? And I know I have to get it clean. And again, nobody's on my case about you have to do it or you'll be fired kind of thing. But I want to have it clean because I feel better when it's more organized and clean. And all I do is I walk in, I feel that overwhelm. I go, okay, remember what Sue said the other day about overwhelm. Take it in little bite-sized chunks. So I take that 1 foot by 1 foot square and I go, okay, I've got this. I'm going to do it. And I start to clean it up. And then I get to the second little 1 foot by 1 foot square and I'm feeling a little less overwhelmed. I'm not feeling like giving up at all. I'm actually positive and I'm moving, right? I get that second little square cleaned up, and then I get to the third, and now a whole bunch of more stuff comes in. I don't know, I get some packages or I get a bunch of mail or whatever, and I set it to the side because I'm like, oh, I just got to take care of this over here. I've got my little 1 foot by 1 foot square that I'm taking care of, and I'll get to that later. But by the time I get to my whole office, that little pile became a bigger pile. And then I look at it and I go, oh my God, I just finally cleaned this floor or this desk, and it's piled up again. And I do it again, and I do it again. But I start to notice that I'm losing hope that I will ever maintain that kind of clean space. So then I start looking at it and I go, oh my God, I'm just so tired of, I just took days to do my floor or my desk or whatever. And now I've got this huge pile again. My God, can I just have some time and space where I have a clean, uncluttered desk? And again, this is just a little example. And then all of it, I see this big pile and I'm like, oh, God, you know what? It's never going to end. And I start saying that language to myself. What's the point? Why bother? Screw it. You know what? I'll just wait till the pile gets so high that I just take a big garbage bag and I go. Poof. Now, again, that's a silly little example in the sense of that might not be applicable to you. But let's say I'm in a relationship and the relationship has gone beautifully for a long time, and then it falls apart and we break up. And then I go along for a while and then I find somebody else and we start dating and we're in a relationship, and the cycle keeps happening and the same patterns keep happening. At some point, I'm probably going to reach a stage where I see, what's the point? Why bother? Why bother dating? Because I keep picking the wrong person. The patterns keep repeating. The cycle keeps being the same. Why? What's the point? And so I just kind of give up. And that's because I'm afraid to look at why I want to give up. So write those down. I want to give up because I don't want to keep getting hurt. I want to give up because every time I just try to be myself and put myself out there, it seems like it's going great in the beginning and then it falls apart. I want to give up because I don't like feeling that roller coaster. I care about them, they care about me, it's going along great, we're having a great time. And then I go into that hurt place. My heart gets broken. So why bother? And you can plug in whatever the situation is for each of you, right? But the first thing that's really important is to look at, like, why do I want to give up? Just list them all out. And again, if you don't like to write, just get a little voice recorder, or on your phone, there's voice recording apps that are usually installed on your cell phone, and just hit play and just speak to it and list out all those reasons why you feel like giving up. And especially like if it's, I don't have money. I don't have money and I have no way to get the money. At least that's what I think, right? And so, and it is, Loretta, absolutely the way that life is, and it tells you that you are alive for sure. But what I'm talking about is for the people that it stops them dead in their tracks, right? Where that giving up feeling kind of halts them from moving forward and kind of progressing in their life, because that fear stops them kind of at a wall. So once you kind of look at what your fears are, and you look at why do I want to give up, then it's important to ask if they're true or not. Okay, is it true? Like in my mind, if I say to myself, I will never have a good relationship because every relationship I've ever had has turned out crappy and I've had my heart broken, so maybe I'm just not meant to have a good relationship. So what's the point? Why bother? If I meet somebody, great. If I don't, whatever. And I kind of lose hope. So I stop kind of looking. I stop putting myself out there to maybe get into a relationship or meet people. And all of a sudden, you know, I get stuck in this cycle of that somewhat hopeless feeling, and I'm kind of giving up on it, right? I'm kind of giving up on myself. So then I step back and I go, well, why do I want to give up? And like I said, I list them out. And then I look at, is it true? Well, it's been true so far for me, but how can I project into the future that it will always be true? Or is it always true that I haven't had the money to fix my car? No, I have had the money. And then you look at, are there ways to kind of improve that? Let's say it's the money issue. Could I sell some things? Could I get a part-time job? Is there something else I could do to increase my income a little bit, temporarily even, in this short term, so that I can have the money to fix my car? Let's say it's about me and the relationship. Are there areas within me that I could reflect upon and look at, or talk to some people that are important in my life about, so that I could understand maybe why I keep picking that same kind of person? Or I look at whatever happened in the relationship and I go, okay, is there an area in that that I can improve upon within myself? Does that make sense? I hope to you guys. So Velvet, hello, love. Let's see. So Loretta said, the bigger my mess, the more alive I am. Recalibrate and perspectives, 100%. You know, all of this, again, this whole 21 days is about the emotions that stop us, the thought processes, the emotions, the feelings, the experiences that we have that kind of stop us dead in our tracks. And they kind of stop us from living life and moving forward. And so it's amazing if you have those, you know, tools and skills and thought processes and beliefs inside yourself that help you to move through those really more effortlessly and easy. But if you don't, then this is where these things come into play and can really help you move forward, because you're learning just this little tidbit and tool on how to kind of get out of that stopped, stuck, lost, confused, overwhelmed, giving up kind of place, right? That becomes really stressful. So I hope this helped you today. I hope it's been valuable. I love coming to you guys live every single day. I think it's important that we recognize that we're all humans living on this planet. We're in this together. And if there's a way to help uplift one another just by the smallest of things, a positive word, a truthful, authentic feeling that you offer up to somebody that you care, a belief in them or yourself, that this is how we really step into this movement that I really want to see carry forward within emotional health and resiliency, because this is how we'll all step into our possibilities and our potentials and our futures. This is how we'll affect change. So any feedback you guys have to offer up to me, I would love to hear it. Please drop me a private message if you want. Leave me a comment here in the comment sections. I do go back through it. And I honor you guys for continuing to stick with me day after day. I love you all so much, and I really appreciate you all. And if you know anybody that might benefit from this, day 2, day 7, day 4, day 3, whatever, please feel free to spread the love and offer it up to them as just a little resource and a tool. And again, and I'll say this every day because some people aren't watching every day, they'll just pop in for a day. If you want the audio of all of the days once we're done, please make sure that you drop me a private message with your email, and I'll get you on that list to get you that MP3 audio at the end. For now, I hope that you have a hope-filled day, right? And if you're not feeling hopeful and you're feeling hopeless and a bit like giving up, I invite you to check in with yourself and remember that you're here for a reason and you have gift and impact to make on the world. And I hope that you step into that place of hope and not give up, because the world needs you whether you realize it or not, in the smallest ways and in the biggest ways. I love you all. Thank you so much. I will be back tomorrow at 2 o'clock for day 8. Tomorrow we're getting into a little bit of the deeper ones. We'll deal with frustration. Don't worry, anger's coming. We'll deal with frustration tomorrow. I hope you all have a hope-filled day. See you tomorrow. Ciao for now.